ranging from 0 to 10, 10 being the best and 0 being the worst. And let's say if you have defined your workflow and that
Yes, it
workflow
crashed.
has got a score of less than 5, there is a huge opportunity to optimize your pipeline, right? You can optimize your pipeline to strengthen your security. Um, Here I have divided this problem into three parts. So basically, to achieve this, solution, what we'll do, we'll divide this problem statement into three parts. First, we'll classify if this particular workflow is good or bad. Secondly, once we have decided if our workflow is good or bad, we are going to generate suggestions for the repositories, or even we can generate the code itself using generative AI. Um, the next step would be, to automate the code commits in the similar way as it is done today by Dependabot. So we also have to do that. Um, this is the high level design. What we are going to do. Um, Machine learning. Okay, so I'll talk about the data in a bit, but before that, let me walk you through on a high level what we are going to do, how it will be. So first of all, we are going to train our model, machine learning model. The data will be using the data that is already there and provided by Open Source Security Foundation. So Open Source Security Foundation already have a data for more than 1 lakh repository. Sorry, 1 million repository, and we can use that data. We can leverage that data to train our model. We have a lot many other attributes that we can leverage when we will be moving to the second step would be which would be to generate suggestions or generate the codes. Um, After we have train and tested our model, we are going to create a package um, so that it can be consumed by any of these pipeline providers. Um, and let's say if your if um, your package has predicted the workflow is good, so you can go ahead and execute the workflow. But in case if your prediction is bad for your workflow, you can add your own conciliation steps. You can even stop your build, or you can add like another things like notification or something. So yeah, so this is the data that I was talking about. So if you see here, I have just searched for this is big data query, by the way, and here I'm searching for the repository name, and I'm just using the average for its score so that I can go by because it has like all those snapshot for repository from like which point to which point it has propagated. So here I'm just interested to see like how many repositories it has. Here you can see the result has more than 1 billion repository, more than record. That means these repository data it already has. And individual repository data for the individual repository is also pretty huge. So let me show you. If you see here, I'm using the API that I provided by Open Source Security Foundation. I have here trying to fetch the result for Ortelius project. So here you see the actual data that they are storing at their end. This is the overall score, and here you have like a lot many other checks, what all checks that are already been there, and what all scores that are provided by Open Source Security Foundation corresponding to individual checks. So we are going to use all of these attributes when we are modeling our machine learning model, so that um, we can add consideration for these attributes as well. Going back to my presentation, this is the data that we are going to use this. Talking about the challenges, the first challenge would be, as I showed you, the data is in a form of JSON, right? So we had to extract um, the necessary attributes which will be useful in training our model. And the second step would be, removing those extra attributes that might not be helpful in training the models. So there would be a lot of effort would be required to change the format from JSON to tabular form so that we can use the tabular form to, train our models. The next challenge would be, feature extraction, where again we have to focus on different feature extraction techniques, so that we can like test out our uh, training data and like how many features minimum are required um, for the data that we have. So basically here, what we want to avoid is underfitting and overfitting. So what happens in case of overfitting, if you are training a data with some features, it will work well with the repositories that you have considered. But let's say if there are any new repositories being added or new workflows, so in that case, it becomes very random. The prediction becomes very random. So we just want to avoid those situations. So this was about the feature extraction. The next challenge would be there for uh, what happens right now, we are pulling up the data from Open Source Security Foundation and training our own model. But we have to find a solution wherein we can, leverage the data that is already being there um, at the Open Source Security Foundation side, and so that the incremental data that are getting stored at the Open Source Security Foundation side, we can leverage those incremental data and refine our model. So I think that will also, if we do so, that will also avoid any other things like, let's say if they have upgraded or updated the benchmarking criteria for adding scores. So we don't have to train our model from beginning itself, and we can easily like incorporate all those changes in our model. Okay, so before going there, I'll quickly show you one small sentiment analysis code that I've done for different data sets. So here, like almost most of the things will be same. It just we have to extract our data into a representable form. So once that is done, we can use the same sort of code to train our model. Let me open this. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'll show you two of the features. Okay, here it opened. So here, if you see, the third column is basically the tweet, and second column is the label. So for every tweet, this is since this is a training data, so we have already classified like which all tweets are positive and which all tweets are negative. In the similar way, we also know like which all repository have which all score, and based on I think I'm going to use the some threshold, let's say 3 or 4, and what I'm going to say, for all this repository which has the overall score less than 3 or 4, they will be classified as bad workflow, or like need improvement type of workflow. And so yeah, that is how I'm going to create the table for all those data. um, that data, this type of data will be used to train our model. mm, yeah, so let me show you the main part. Yeah, So this is the file path that I've defined for my data data set, and later I'm just doing a pre-processing and a split. So pre-processing will involve cleaning up the data, doing a feature extraction using n-grams approach. We can use unigram, bigrams, any of this approach. And yeah, we have to do some hit on trial to see like which all feature extraction approach are working good. So all those things will be happen here, and later once we have done, we can do a validation. So basically what happens in validation step, so I'm using a tenfold validation. That means whatever data that you have, that will be split into 10 parts, and based on those 10 parts we can define like a 20/80 ratio. So it will train your model with a 20% data, and it will again test your data with the remaining 20%. And this is the overall precision, recall, F1, and accuracy. What I wanted to show next here is the confusion matrix. So after we have modeled our model to classify our workflow as a good or bad, we'll get a confusion matrix like this, something like this. So which has like the rows are the true values. So these are the true values of the labels, and these are the predicted ones. So basically, we want to reduce the count for um, positive, negative, and negative, positive. So basically, this is the false negative, and this is the true positive. So we want to reduce the count for these. The lowest the number on in these quadrants, the better is the model. And individual values for these labels can be seen by the classification report. So again, it has a lot of inference added to it. Using a number, we can inference a lot of information, which I would be interested to see when I train a model for a workflow. Here we can see recall for positive is more than negative. That means this model is, intended towards predicting um, more of like positive labels. So it's like even if you want to take a chance, so in that chance we have added more weight to doing a prediction to a positive rather than doing. So that was it about this presentation. I still need to work on it to finalize everything. But yeah, this is the approach that I'm going to take. If you want to explore more about Ortelius, this is the GitHub URL for Ortelius. You can even visit ortelius.io. That has like all sort of information that you're looking for. You can also follow Ortelius. The handle for Ortelius on LinkedIn is Ortelius-open-source. And on Twitter, you can follow Ortelius with the handle Ortelius OS. You can also follow me. My handle on Twitter and LinkedIn is Code with Utkarsh. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks everyone for listening.
So next we have is we're going to do a word game. So let me get this rolling, and we'll be able to. I'll share the link also in the Twitch chat. Let me copy the link over there. All right, let me get that over there, and we'll play this a couple times. Okay, Arvin, the winner is again. Let me go ahead and keep moving on.
Ta-da!
Lovely. Right then, what are we going to get Santa for Christmas? How about, an iPod?
Maybe not.
A beard trimmer.
Definitely not.
What about a texter puppy?
Poor little mixed up elves.
Oh, I know.
You have reached your destination.
With the new Argos Digital Gift Guide, finding the perfect gift has never been easier. We believe there's a better way to shop online.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ortelius Holiday Gathering. It's that time of the year.
Sorry,
when
folks.
we
I'm going to go
celebrate
ahead
and
and
we talk about our own
relaunch this one.
experiences, learnings, and
It's
also a
not
little bit
scaled
of
correctly.
future
Hang on.
perspectives. So, I'm here to talk about DevOps with data shooting for the moon, and I'm talking about space technologies. Today. So it will be quite exciting. Before
YouTube is acting up on us today.
saying, so the array of infrastructure services, tools, robot integration, etc., etc. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ortelius Holiday Gathering. It's that time of the year when we celebrate and we talk about our own experiences, learnings, and also a little bit of future perspectives. So, I'm here to talk about DevOps with data shooting for the moon, and I'm talking about space technologies today. So, it will be quite exciting. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself, why I'm here. I'm one of the members of the Technology Oversight Committee at Ortelius. I have been working with the Ortelius team since the inception of this project. I'm also the founder for the DevOps Community of Practice here in Canada, which has several chapters Ottawa, Montreal, Edmonton, Atlantic provinces. If you are eager to join any of these chapters, and if you're here in Canada, we welcome you all to join us. I'm also the chair for the Ambassador Program at the Continuous Delivery Foundation, which is focusing on evolving continuous delivery posture when it comes to open source projects and technologies. I hold a tech advisory board member position as well as a published author from Pact. Pact is a publishing house. So if you're curious to know about my book, Strategizing Continuous Delivery in Cloud, it is up for grab on Amazon or any of the similar digital platforms where you can find ebooks and books for technology. I'm fortunate to have been nominated in 3 categories by the DevOps Dozen this time. So obviously, I'm here to ask for your votes as well. So, enough about myself. I think I'll start this session, and I have like 10 minutes today. So, I'll be very quick, but I will give you a perspective which can excite all the DevOps people here in this room that how we can make difference in space technology. And if I would start from the market potential, the global space technology, space tech as we refer it to, the market size of this is valued $420 billion in 2022, and it is expected to grow at a compound annual rate of 7.5 from 2023 to 2030. Interesting space technology is open for private investments. One of the key drivers of increased traction and valuation of this sector is the decreasing cost of ownership of space technology, creative use cases where organizations are shooting for the moon. And if I'm not wrong, shooting for the Mars. So now, what is this great promise and why the DevOps people should be excited about it? So I'll talk about like little bit more perspective growth in miniaturized satellite segment. Like if you are following CubeStats, that's one example which is often used for, let's say, technology demos or conduct experiments, educational or academic purposes, and some commercial use cases. Space communication systems is also growing. Particularly, there's a lot of interest in LEO, low orbit satellite, which is geared towards bringing new businesses and even act as an enabler for humans flight to space. And we can talk more about it offline as well. But another interesting area is space stations for businesses. And when businesses can start to build, own, operate space systems and perform commercial activities, for example, mining the moon or asteroids for materials, services into space. So, in space habitats, LEO labs, or supply refueling depots, space traffic management, satellite tracking, intelligence data services, being some of the examples of the services which are being, you know, considered to be valued when we talk about space tech. And building and operating space infrastructure goes without saying. So the array of infrastructure services, tools, robot integration, etc., etc. So there's a lot of action from a space technology perspective. Morgan Stanley forecasted that the global space industry has a potential to generate revenue of more than 1 trillion or even more in 2040, up to 350 billion, which is currently kind of targeted. So there is a lot of promise. And this promise, of course, if you talk about big cloud service providers like Azure, AWS, and Google, they have started to work on it. Azure, for example, has launched a platform and services ecosystem called Azure Space. These services are helping the space community to explore new areas of collaboration. Similarly, for AWS, AWS has launched an accelerator program for space technology. It has taken an interesting and next generation approach towards space. So, if you're curious, you can actually research a little bit about AWS and its services. I've also written a blog on this topic. So, if you're curious to know more about all this, you can also get hold of my blog. Google is also investing in startup ecosystem in space technology. Google has partnered with SpaceX. Google Sky is another project, which is a celestial map of space. So, quite interesting developments happening in space tech. So, when we talk about all these developments, we would also like to talk about the careers in the space. And when I talk about DevOps nowadays, I would say DevOps, data, and cyber together makes a holistic picture for the DevOps professionals. So, if you are a DevOps professional and want to be a part of this value chain, the opportunity is huge, starting from facilitating remote operations, processing of multitude of data collected, and developing applications to make it user friendly. For example, in agriculture sector, which is more relatable. Similar use cases are there for mining, for other areas, even product development and manufacturing. Space technology automation is another area to set your eyes on, as aerospace technology experts say that the next decade will demand skills to automate outer space governance, orchestrate downstream traffic optimization, as well as upstream traffic as well. So, again, another exciting opportunity in making. Data engineers are laying the foundation for new product innovations and even unimagined possibilities. Data science and machine learning play an important role, for example, in processing images, predictive modeling of not only trajectories, but also, for example, cyber engineers in space technology, security solutions for space technology is also an area of potential growth. With quantum technology joining hands with cyber professionals, I think it is an extremely exciting area to watch out for, because we would be able to explore new areas of space and also new use cases from a space technology perspective. Space and software engineering leaders. And I always talk about this because, of course, it's a grassroots journey. There's a lot of action from an operational, tactical perspective. But what if you are a software engineering leader? I believe the growing demand of software engineering leaders to become part of space technology ecosystem is in making. There will be a need of more and more leadership perspective in space tech. And obviously, it is needless to say that if you're a DevOps entrepreneur, the even opportunity is even stronger and bolder with the global economy will when the global economy will go into space by 2040 and this $1 trillion promise which is in making. So there's a lot of action happening from DevOps perspective along with data and cyber professionals. There's a lot of new opportunities coming in, and it demands not only your technical skills but also creativity, exploration, experimentation, all the SREs and all the DevOps evangelist. I think there's a huge amount of potential and exciting opportunities waiting for you in the space tech. I believe that this will be one of the next revolutions for all of us working in DevOps, data, and cyber. With that, because the time was short, there will be significant development around defense and alliances to develop this area. Watch out for my blogs, watch out for the space, where we can brainstorm and collaborate on this topic further. Space technology will be driving one of the biggest transformation, and DevOps people and communities, let's be part of this ecosystem. Let's try to steer the needle in the right direction and make this future happen. With that, I would like to end my talk today. Thank you for being here. And if this talk looks promising, it's exciting, you know where to find me. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to Arvin. So here we go, Arvin.
Here to share my talk on the topic of open telemetry in microservices. I am Arvind Sinhapadia and I am currently working as an MBA in Fountain. So let's begin this topic. The ever-evolving realm of software architecture, microservices has emerged as a dominant paradigm for building scalable and practical applications. However, the benefits of microservices come hand in hand with unique challenges, particularly in terms of observability. OpenTelemetry is an open source tool designed to visualize the way we observe and manage microservice architecture. So let's talk about the microservice landscape. Microservices have become the backbone of scalable and flexible come with their own set of challenges. Now let's talk about the microservices challenges. Microservices with their decentralized and independent nature introduce challenges for developers and operators alike. Pointing performance bottlenecks, tracing the flow of requests, and ensuring the reliability of each service becomes a intrinsic task in a distributed environment. Traditional monitoring tools often fall short in providing the granularity required for effective observability in microservices. Now, let's talk about some of the features of the OpenTelemetry. So, first, let's understand what is OpenTelemetry. So, OpenTelemetry is a collaborative effort between the CNCF and other industry leaders. This is the standard hands-on. It's comprising of APIs, libraries, events, and instrumental standards. Telemetry offers a unified framework for collecting, processing, and for exporting telemetry data from applications. Let's deep dive into the key features that make OpenTelemetry a game changer for microservice observability. So the first feature is the distributed tracing. At the heart of OpenTelemetry lies its flagship feature, distributed tracing. Amount. OpenTelemetry distributed tracing provides a comprehensive loop through various microservices. These traces capture essential data points, allowing developers to identify bottlenecks, understand dependencies, and optimize the overall performance of their system. Distributed tracing operates on the principle of creating a trace concept that follows a request across service boundaries. This not only aids in understanding the flow of requests, but also enables developers to diagnose and resolve issues efficiently. The result is a holistic view of the microservice landscape, empowering organizations to enhance the reliability and efficiency of their applications. Now let's talk about the performance monitoring. So beyond distributed tracing, OpenTelemetry requires its robust performance monitoring capabilities. It goes beyond the surface level understanding provided by additional monitoring tools, offering a granular view of key metrics such as response time, error rate, and throughput for each microservice. This performance metrics feature transforms raw data into actionable insight. Developer and operator gain a real-time understanding of how each microservice is performing, allowing for informed decision-making and proactive issue resolution. Whether it is identifying a sudden spike in error rate or optimizing the response time of a critical service, OpenTelemetry performance monitoring capabilities empower organizations to stay ahead of potential issues. Now let's talk about some of the core features of OpenTelemetry. The first one is the context propagation. In a distributed environment, maintaining continuity at a request traverses different microservices is a non-trivial task. OpenTelemetry addresses this challenge with its context propagation feature. It continuously travels with the request, ensuring that crucial information is not lost as it moves through the microservice architecture. Context propagation is the foundational to achieving end-to-end visibility. It enables developers to correlate events, logs, and matrices across services, facilitating a cohesive understanding of the entire request lifecycle. This is essential for effective troubleshooting, debugging, and overall system optimization. Now next is the instrumental standardization. One of the strengths of OpenTelemetry lies in its commitment of standardized instrumentation. Microservices often involve a polyglot landscape, with different services written in various languages and frameworks. It provides a unique approach to implementing code, ensuring consistency in data collection practices across the diverse components of microservice architecture. This standardization simplifies the implementation process for developers. Whether you are working with a service written in Go, Java, Python, or any other language, OpenTelemetry offers a consistent way to capture telemetry data. This not only streamlines the implementation process, but also ensures that the collected data is uniform and interoperable, making it easier to adopt and maintain observability across the entire microservice ecosystem. Now let's talk about the interoperability. OpenTelemetry is designed with interoperability in mind, recognizing that different organizations have unique requirements. It supports multiple backends for storage and analysis. Whether you prefer Jira, Zipkin, Prometheus, or another solution, OpenTelemetry seamlessly integrates with a variety of backends. This flexibility allows organizations to choose the best tool for their specific needs, It also facilitates interoperability between different observability solutions, enabling seamless transition or integration as requirements evolve. Its commitment to being vendor-agnostic ensures that organizations have the freedom to select the tool that align with their goals. Now let's talk about some of the benefits. First one is the proactive monitoring that we discussed above, but I will few more points that it allows you to set up a hunting mechanism that based on predefined thresholds, enabling proactive monitoring. Now let's talk about logging integrations. So effective logging is indispensable for debugging and root cause analysis in microservice environments. OpenTelemetry seamlessly integrates with logging systems, bridging the gap between case and log. This integration ensures that each case is enriched with the relevant log data, providing a holistic view of the application behavior during a specific time frame. In a distributed microservices architecture, where a single request might traverse multiple services, co-creating logs with trace become a game changer. OpenTelemetry logging integration allow developer and operator to trace the flow of a request across services and simultaneously access detailed log associated with each services. Now let's talk about dynamic environments. The dynamic environments are inherently dynamic, with service being added or removed dynamically based on demand. OpenTelemetry is purpose-built to thrive in such dynamic scenarios, providing insight into the performance of service regardless of their life cycle. The ability to adapt to the fluidity of microservice architecture is a standout feature of OpenTelemetry. As services scale up or down in response to changing workload, OpenTelemetry ensures that observability remains uninterrupted. The contract propagation mechanism and instrumentation standard in OpenTelemetry facilitate a seamless transition from monitoring newly introduced services. This adaptability is crucial for maintaining a cohesive view of the entire system, ensuring that observability scale alongside the microservice construct. So, for getting started with the OpenTelemetry, you can go to their website and it's a straightforward way to install, configure, and start using OpenTelemetry. And I want to come to service observability, offering distributed tracing, standardized implementation, and interoperability. It embraces to unlock a new level of understanding and control in the microservice architecture. Uh, and thanks a lot, and let me know if you have any questions for me. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all for attending our 2023 Holiday Party and Visionary Summit. We had a short but powerful program today, and we appreciate everybody who contributed to make this a super success. And I wish you all a fabulous holiday and look forward to an amazing 2024 where we're going to accomplish some great things together. We'll see you soon. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for attending, and we'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a good holiday.